Before we start, I want to wish everyone happy holidays. It's Christmas Eve and I didn't have any sort of Christmas video planned, so here's a review of a game that takes place in a snowy cabin. I tried, alright? Anyways, I might actually have a year-end video despite only playing one game that released this year. I just got a PS4 though, so I had to catch up on a lot. Anyways, once again, I hope everyone is doing well, and thanks for all the support I got in this very odd year. Now, on to the video. Until Dawn is a PS4 exclusive horror game that centers itself around the many choices available during its playtime. And when I say many, I mean many. While the differences may be small, there are technically just over 250 different possible endings to this game. Although excluding these endings, I managed to fully complete the game in only 4 playthroughs. So it's a lot more underwhelming than you'd think. Anyways, let's get into my review and my journey to completion of Until Dawn. This was an introduction to this interactive movie type of game for me, and it was a pretty great one, I'll admit. I do have quite a few problems with some smaller things, but as a whole, this is a really solid game. Plus it's Christmas Eve, so I have to be somewhat nice. So the game starts with this group of friends in this cabin in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta, which is very cool since I live extremely close to them actually. Basically, 1 year ago, 2 of the people in this group mysteriously disappeared one night, though the player knows they were actually killed when they accidentally fell down the mountain. So these friends come back to the cabin to reunite and try to have a good time until some wacky stuff starts happening one night. Now, your goal as the player is to make the right decisions and make sure all 8 teens survive until dawn. It's a pretty fun premise, and I was intrigued right from the start. I won't spoil anything in this video, but around the middle of the game, the whole story kind of takes a completely different turn with its horror, one that I wasn't a big fan of. I was having more fun with the stuff before, but I've heard lots of people say they like the second half more. Now, how scary was this game? Not very scary, I'll say. This game is very weird with the way it presents its horror. It almost feels like it's making fun of a lot of common horror tropes, and I'm not sure if this was intentional or not. There's tons of dumb jump scares and predictable cliches, which definitely don't get any better on future playthroughs, but then there is still some pretty tension-filled sections and spooky locations, so it's not all that bad. I was hoping for a bit more of a creepy experience, and on my first playthrough I'd definitely say I got that, but not so much in the future. And that's really about my only major complaint with this game. As I've said, it focuses so much on all the different choices you can make to get different endings, which I had quite a bit of fun with. It was really interesting to see how different events played out, and the creative ways the developers had to work around issues that certain character deaths or stuff affects the whole plot. But there's also a lot of sections that have nothing to do with decisions and are all focused on quick time events. This can be pressing the right buttons or aiming your gun fast enough to shoot stuff, or really only the interesting one, this feature where you have to hold your controller completely still. If you don't cheat by setting the controller down, these were some of the most tension-filled moments. Not so much for the quick time events though. I know that without them the game would probably feel too shallow, but on future playthroughs they just get so annoying. To get full completion, you have to make it through the night with no one dying, and I had to completely restart the game because I messed up pressing one button and someone died. Usually the game is forgiving and will let you try twice before a character dies, but not this time. I pressed the wrong button and lost 10 hours of gameplay. Great. So yeah, apart from the different choices, for how much this game focuses on replay value, it wasn't always the most fun. But as a whole, the completion process was very easy. All you have to do is collect all these relatively easy to find collectibles, do some special events or purposely make bad decisions, then complete the game with certain requirements, such as everyone dies, everyone survives, all the boys survive, all the girls survive, you get the idea. It was pretty simple and interesting, but after playing through the game this many times and seeing how little lots of the things actually end up changing, I think it'll be a while before I play it again, if I ever do. There is this chapter replay feature, but it's not very well done or explained. Basically, you can start from one of the 10 chapters in the game, but since there's so many different decisions that change how things play out, the chapters always revert to your first playthrough and whatever decisions you made then, which is kind of dumb. I mean, be very careful on your first playthrough. I let someone die in the 4th chapter and then permanently had to start from there if I wanted to save them. Even though no one else can die until chapter 7, I think? Anyways, I think it would have been better if the chapter select saved your progress from your most recent playthrough, not permanently your first one. What else? This game does look pretty phenomenal. The use of motion capture really helps to bring emotion to everyone's faces, even when their heads are getting torn off. Although the frame rate is kinda awful and there were tons of choppy sequences. If I can ever find a PS5, I'd be glad to play it on that. I've heard it runs a lot better. On the topic of characters, they were really fun. Everyone has their own unique personality and relationships with each other. And the performances are also very great. Peter Stormare's character was my favorite, but I gotta give props to the voice actor for Josh. He was especially great as well. There are a few central characters who are definitely more developed than the others, but really only one person I'd say felt like they had an unnatural lack of screen time. And finally, I gotta point out that the deaths in this game are so brutal. Like seriously, some of these things are pretty traumatizing. For some reason, the game has a tendency to show the life slowly draining out of everyone's eyes, and it was unpleasant to say the least. And that is all. Until Dawn was a pretty fun time, and I'd especially recommend it for a night with some friends, passing around the controller and letting everyone make decisions. But I did still have some minor complaints. I'll give Until Dawn a B+. And there you have it. This was a very short video, and it is now over. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Have a great holiday season, everyone. Bye.